but this is just what it does. I'm just kind of playing around and seeing what different materials do. So the yellow's a little bit brighter. Now, this is a first for me. This is a UV printer. I have no idea what I'm doing with this thing, so you'll have to bear with me, but I think I've kind of figured it out for now. I'm gonna have to do a lot of experimentation with this thing, probably buy a lot of ink before I really get into this as a trade hobby, whatever you want to call it. Now, this is the OMTech Spectra U1 Pro UV printer. They do have a non-pro model that's also coming out or should be out now. And this thing is pretty dang cool. It uses a flatbed design with a generous print area. Don't mind my overspray over here on the print area. I was trying to figure it out and stuff shifted. I didn't have the air assist and all that on and everything. This is A3, so you get like what, 11 something inches? I don't know, whatever A3 is, you can look that up. A little bit bigger than a standard sheet of printer paper, which is A4. You can tell I'm totally new to actual ink printing. But right out of the gate, you get some pretty cool stuff here. You do have this like air hockey table, except in reverse, so it sucks your stuff down so it's not drifting around. You've got ample space in here to get in here and work. We'll take a look at that in a second. It does have some sort of air filtration option on the menu that seems to work pretty well, and that can get pretty stinky with that air filtration on. It does make a considerable difference. I imagine that's just a serviceable filter that you can change, as needed. This does resolution up to 720 by 1440 DPI, so you're getting pretty fine detail there for signage, labels, awards, and stuff. I've done a couple of test prints on cardboard just to make sure I had it working. I think I do now, so we'll go ahead and try some other things now that I've got you joining me. This does have an automatic cleaning thing kind of built into the workflow. It has, easy to get to ink bottles on the back. I'll show you that in a second, and everything. It has a waste ink bottle somewhere that supposedly I have to empty occasionally. I haven't gotten that far yet, but I'm sure I'll figure that out too. This thing is just kind of neat. Don't mind the boxes. That's the ink and gloves and all kinds of stuff that comes with it. You also have this moisturizer cleaning stuff. Let me go ahead and show you inside here. This actually reminds me a lot of their lasers inside, the way it's made. You can tell that they are used to making equipment like this, and you get these two little fans here, and I don't know what all this stuff does, but we'll go ahead and close the lid. This lid does protect you from the UV light, although you can look in the front and see the UV light. It does come with glasses though, so you can be safe. Here on the back you have this that tells you the status of your ink. It has like the cyan and the white and magenta and all that stuff. If one of them is empty, it'll make just a steady sound, which is really annoying. You just come back here and push that button and it silences the alarm. Anytime a new one is detected as empty, it'll make that noise. You just come back here and silence the alarm. You do have a power switch there, although you also turn it on the front, so you can kill power to the whole machine if you want. It does have a little rotary data cable thing there. There's supposedly going to be a rotary tool, so you could like print on bottles and stuff like that. Then you have your moisturizer, your varnish, your white, black, yellow, magenta, cyan. So you have all your ink things there. You just screw the caps off. You can put them in. I believe these come out. You have to unhook them and stuff. That way you can clean them out if you switch brands of ink. They did include some ink with mine here, pretty small bottles. They are 250 milliliter bottles. So I bet that's about $75, $80 worth of ink and stuff there. You do have the display here on the front. We'll go ahead and turn it on. It is a little on the loud side, so we're gonna go ahead and check that out with my little cheap decibel meter, my sound meter. It takes a second to boot up. I will say the software is confusing if you're not used to this sort of software. There's a lot of options and it's kind of overwhelming. If you're buying one of these though, I kind of imagine you know what you're doing. So I don't, and it's a little confusing. They do have their own software that interfaces with this. One thing there though, there doesn't seem to be like a USB connection or anything. So you have to run Ethernet from the corner over there. And of course I have a really long one here because we're coming over to this computer. Now I can't figure out how to hook it to the network, so I had to plug it directly into the computer. Unfortunately, I have two Ethernet ports on this, so if I still wanted the wired internet, it would work. For whatever reason, it doesn't seem to want to work on the network. I don't know if that's even a thing. Maybe someone could tell me in the comments if that's pretty standard with these. So here's the software. We'll show you that real fast. I've just got a butterfly test image up here. This is the rip panel or whatever, and you have print and settings. And as you can see, this gets pretty in the weeds and confusing, and I have no idea whatsoever what I'm doing, but I was able to print some stuff. So, you know, I can tinker with this and learn this, and I'm sure there's videos out there that talk about this in general, because I took some pictures of the screen here and asked ChatGPT, you know, what settings do I need for this? And ChatGPT Pro was able to take my images and kind of tell me, oh, well, this thing over here is for that, and like do this. And for rip, you know, it was like, come in here and click, you know, my settings or wherever it's at, and it told me how to do different things. So that was really nice. I love that we live in the future. Okay, we're back over here. I've got my decibel meter out. At idle, it's about 43 decibels. So I'm going to turn on the suction. We're getting about 65 to 70, depending on how close we are to the holes. And then you also have the air purify thing. So we're getting 62 to 67, depending on how close we are. It's going to be quiet enough that you're safe, but it's not quiet enough that you can like listen to the radio or watch TV without really turning the volume up. So keep that in mind. I do have this out here in the garage because it gets a little stinky. I originally thought maybe I'd put this in my office in the house, but I don't think I'm going to do that now. What I will do probably is take this to the high school where my wife and I work, and let our art teacher have it in his little room that's vented, that has like a laser and stuff like that in it, 3D printers and stuff, and then let the kids use it there, and then when I need to use it, I can use it as well. I'm not going to use this thing a lot probably, but I think it'd be really cool to let the high schoolers and maybe some of the junior high students be able to use this to print some cool stuff. So we'd do that. But I'm going to get you on a tripod, and we're going to go ahead and show you a couple of things here real fast. Now, the screen is not the easiest to see. In person, you can see this fine. The camera, just for whatever reason, doesn't really want to pick it up. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the air purifier and suction off so you can hear me a little bit better. There is a load ink thing. When you first get it, you just take the little bottles of ink and varnish and whatnot, and you puncture them, and then you're going to go ahead and pour them in. I did not fill them up all the way, just enough to turn the alarms off, because I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to leak if I didn't miss a step or anything, but everything was fine there. So it has you hit load ink, let it go through its thing, and then it has you hit load ink a second time just to make sure the ink is loaded. And on my 2 or 3 test prints, I printed the same image a couple of different times. Everything looked fine. So we're in standby mode right now. You can come back out to the main screen. This is where I can kind of control the up and down. This is how you get it into focus or whatever. There is a light back here in the corner that goes across. It's like a laser. So what we're doing is we're trying to get it to go up and down until the laser goes across the surface. Once you know the thickness of your material and you have it set perfect so it's coming out great, you can actually control that in the software, which is pretty cool. You can make this go in and out. Obviously, you know, when you're done with it, you want to send it inside there, but we'll go ahead and let that do its thing. And that's pretty much it. You do have a test, which it has you do after you load that ink twice. You put a sheet of paper on there, press test. It does some lines. You make sure the lines look correct. Actually, they show it here. So you're looking for that print sample right there. And if that works, then you should be good to go. And then there's a cleaning option too. This is just a bottle of grit for my rock tumbler. So we're going to lower this a bunch here. Now this will do up to 5 inches of thickness, a little more. Anything beyond that's not going to fit, unfortunately. And then again, the dimensions are A3. So you've got quite a bit to work there. I imagine you could do like a pretty cool like diploma certificate kind of award thing on here. That would look pretty cool. Let's see. I'm going to set this up here for right now just so I can get the laser leveled in, and then we'll move it back down here to the corner. Okay, so we want about like that, I think. So I'm going to slide this down here. And this is a little dirty and scuffed up and everything, but not a big deal. Let me change the white balance there. I will go ahead and come over here to the software. I'm going to shrink this down some, and here we go. Now I don't have this bottle lined up. I just kind of set it on there, and I haven't measured things out, so who knows where this is actually going to appear on the thing. Hopefully I made it narrow enough. I'm taking handheld here. Now, if you're going to look in there, make sure you're wearing the glasses because that is UV light. It can damage your eyes. They do include them, so that's nice. I am at a position where I'm safe from that light and I'm looking in a different direction, so I'm sorry if this camera is a little shaky or off angle, but this is just what it does. And we'll go ahead and let that finish. It shouldn't take long at all. Something a little bit smaller than this has taken me, I don't know, a minute or so. It actually will say in the software, but I think it's not quite accurate. Yeah, it says we're over halfway done already. It was saying 3 minutes for the testing I did earlier, and it was taking like a minute. So they can probably adjust that in the software a little. You get the same thing with 3D printers. It'll tell you one time, and then sometimes it's twice as long or like half as long, and it is what it is. Oh yeah, that came out great. That came out really great. If I could get it to focus. There we go. So I was a little blurry there, but I also think that's just kind of the plastic, and it isn't quite the best material. It's all scuffed and dirty. But that came out really well for a test. So I'm gonna try a different material now. I have this little kind of junky electric screwdriver I keep out here that has like no torque whatsoever. It's from Kai Weitz. They sent it to me to do a video and I really didn't like it. I was really intimidated by the software, but this is working pretty good. I will say you may want to tape stuff that you don't want like overspray on, like that USB port that I just sent in there. But again, I'm not too worried about this. I imagine there's a lot of like fine tuning and stuff you can do here. So I'm not too worried about it right now. I'm just kind of playing around and seeing what different materials do. We also have like a ceramic magnet, and I have 2 of the metal business cards that I use with my lasers we're going to try on, as well as a piece of acrylic here. This you have to focus a little bit different, so I'll have to consult the manual again. But for opaque surfaces, you just do it like on the top. I think you do something a little bit different for clear ones. And like, yeah, this thing's just great. I'm so tempted to look in there. You can look through the top and kind of see what's going on, but unless you're doing something really big, I'm just doing down there in the corner. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, see, it's done already. It took what, like a minute? Yeah, that is quite dark for this. So let me find one that's not as dark, and we'll maybe, we'll move it just a little here. So let me try something actually. I think there's a way to make it do white first. Well, I still can't quite figure out the white stuff just because I don't know the software. So I'm trying a different image here. This one's going to take a little bit longer. Now, I took a peek through the lid here, and this looks like it's going to come out a little bit better. I'm still not quite sure. I figured this whole white thing. I think on dark stuff, you clearly want to put down a white layer first. Either paint it yourself or have the ink do it. I'm not sure this is going to work. I'm in a space, it's like when I first got into lasers, and I still have no idea what I'm doing with lasers half the time. It's just, I just randomly change settings, and I'm like, oh yeah, that kind of worked. So I really need to talk to someone that's used these 3D printers. Yeah, so that, again, just did not work. That's not the printer's fault. You can see it there. It's just, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. While GPT is thinking, you can see that it's doing some of the color. It's just, I can't figure out how to get it to do the white background. So we're just going to keep trying Ronald here. Between the manual, ChatGPT Pro, and several queries with screenshots, I think this is going to work. All right, that worked. So now I just need to find, an image that doesn't have, the checkered background. But I am very happy with how that turned out. That was a bad test image because it has like shadow and stuff where it just doesn't print anything. So let me find something else, and maybe we'll graffiti the front one more time, and then we'll move on to another material. I did that last one in the 6-pass, so I'm doing that blue butterfly again in 8-pass. All right, yeah, that came out a lot better. I did one of the business cards, and these are, aluminum, standardized aluminum. That came out really freaking good. That would look good on a bottle or something, and you can feel the texture from it. I did this as one. I want to see if I can build that up and make it a little bit more textured. I'm curious to see how that works. So I'm going to try a setting there, and we're going to do that again. So that just finished. Let's see if we notice a difference. There was with one pass. Two. Okay, so the yellow's a little bit brighter. The blue's a little bit brighter. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, that second layer is noticeably different. So all you do is when you tell it, when you click print, it asks you, like how many times. I just said 2. So it did add quite a bit more texture. I'm actually going to try printing the same thing on one of my credit cards. There's no identifiable information on the front, so I'm just going to try to print it on there and see how well it holds up. That's my 6th attempt. Oh yeah. So for the credit card, you're going to need a lot more passes, but still pretty cool. Oh crap, that was the first pass. Let me stop that. I'm a dink, guys. Well, so yeah, a second pass definitely would have been needed there. But still, it came out pretty cool. So I'm going to graffiti a bunch of my credit cards just to amuse people at the register. So I went ahead and did another card here that is 2 layers and much better. So 2 would have been fine. I was going to do 3, but when it came out, it comes out after each print and then goes back in. It looks pretty dang good. So that's only 1 pass. Probably could have stood and done 2 or 3, but I mean, it works. We're going to do the slate coaster now. I've already used it to laser on, but that's okay. We'll just go ahead and reuse. So I'll say this is a little warm from the UV light. So let me get this set up and we'll get something on there. Oops, I was a little off center there. But yeah, that was 1 pass. Looking pretty good. A second pass would have been interesting. Now I did make it too small for the text that was on there, and it seems to run a little on the slate, but this is learning. We're figuring out what materials are good and what are not. I peeked under the lid and this is looking really cool. I'm only going to do 1 pass just to see what this is like. I need to order some more like cheap books and stuff to do this on. I'm just doing this on some of my scriptures that I had. I know these paint well because I've had someone custom paint one for me. So I'm trying with this and I think this is going to look really cool. It may need a second pass, but it should be done here shortly. Okay, yeah, that is 1 pass, and that came out really stinking cool. It's just a normal, cheap hardback book, but and I like how it has that fake texture on the fake leather, so you get cracks, kind of like it's an old painting or something. Really, really stinking cool. All right, so this is 1 pass. I just found the movie posters online, and then I went ahead and did this on my laptop, and I'm extremely happy with it. Except for it is really hard to line stuff up in the software. The numbers on this and scale between the numbers does not match what's in the software. So, I got to tinker some more, but that's okay because this doesn't leave the house. So this is just for me and it's not going to bother me at all. But now my laptop's open, my 3 favorite movies from the 90s. My friends and I watch these movies so much and that just looks so nice. And if I wanted to put a protective layer on, I could come in here and put a, clear acrylic matte on it. And I might do that. I'm going to try to put this one on a tablet now, a little mini gaming tablet I have. It won't take up the whole thing, but it should take up a good chunk of it. All right, so I tried the same thing on a tablet and much better. Ignore where I forgot to take the label off the first time there. I will say I have the garage door open and some dust fell on here as it was printing. So there's like some grabby pieces and I obviously taped the camera and I removed that, but get you a better view here. That is freaking awesome. And then I could tape that again and I could hit that with some UV matte acrylic. Some matte acrylic and it would give it a nice bit of protection, but that's really cool. It's just on one of my tablets. Oops, I forgot to focus it. So let me focus it and we're going to try that again. So I think the image I'm using is also not just very good for the white magnet. Maybe I'll try a different image on top of it. like it's coming through, but it's kind of washed out and stuff. So I'm going to try something else. Okay, so that came out much better. But something I'm realizing is this line is not actually lined up. So you're going to want to come up a millimeter or two if you want the bottom done. But let me get you here in a little bit better light. I think Frank turned out really, really good. That's pretty cool. And that's just one of those ceramic magnets. So I'm starting an acrylic. We're going to see how this turns out. Oh yeah, I am really, really happy. This is just one pass. And that came out freaking amazing. And then I could mirror it before I printed it if I wanted on the back to be protected by the plastic, but I don't. And yeah, that is great. That is really, really cool. Guys, I love this thing. I've printed what, I don't know, a dozen, 10, 8 things, something like that, plus some stuff I didn't show you, and really, really happy. Now I'm wondering about cleaning this from overspray. It did come with some stuff. I'm not sure it came with anything to clean that, but I'm imagining I can just use like a little acetone or something to get that up. I will read more about that before I do that. But I'm very, very happy with this. This is the Spectra U1 Pro from OMTech. I've always liked their lasers. This is just opens a whole new world for me. The things I can do with this, I'm really, really excited. I will have a link to this in the secret comment in the description. Definitely 2 thumbs up from me. And I just put enough ink in it to get it to stop beeping. And so far it hasn't wanted more. So, you know, should last quite a while. Oh, that is really, really good.